Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, we got the coaching carousel going on. And it appears Auburn has called Coach Garner. We don't like that. And then T. Martin possibly going to Kentucky. We'll talk about that. There's a lot going on with coaching right now. And folks are trying to fill spots. Now, we're still watching up in Greenville to see what happens with the NCAA on the temporary restraining order, all that good stuff. But that hadn't come out yet. I've been watching. But let's get into this story. All right, folks, this is on Fly War Eagle by Andrew Hughes. It says, Auburn football bringing back Rodney Garner as a home run.
Oh, no, no, no.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen. We're not going to let that happen. It says, it may seem like Auburn is moving away from having former fan favorites, but the coaching talent pool of former Tigers players turned sideline leaders is vast. It says, not only would adding Garner show that the trend of ex-Tigers inspiring current generation isn't done, but it'd be a total home run from a results perspective. Not only has Garner sent studs like Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson to NFL, but also Richard Seymour, Marcus Stroud, David Pollock, Charles Grant, etc. And James Pierce will be out there very, very soon. You can count on that. It says Garner joining the staff would beef up Auburn staff that was light on big names last year. It's bringing in both highly polarizing and successful coaches. Freeze has little reason not to consider it in order to weaken a Vols program that the Tigers will run into on the schedule more frequently in the new divisionless SEC. No, we're not going to be letting him go. That won't happen. Now, my understanding, Rodney's got some kids that are actually at UT, and he's also going to have knee surgery this week. So, look, he can't consider leaving. He's going to have knee surgery. Just leave him be, Freeze. What it is, their line coach went to the NFL, so they're needing one. I think they'd already spoken to him once before about coming to Auburn last year, and he turned them down. So I'm not terribly concerned about this, but Tennessee can't let him leave. It's the one bright spot on the defense. It's a big bright spot, too. We were number one against the run in the SEC last year. And we've been terrific the last 2 years stopping the run and putting pressure on the quarterback. We put a ton of pressure, get a lot of sacks. We've got terrific edge rushers. He's done a tremendous job recruiting. We brought in a 5-star from Alabama this year, so we won't be letting him go. That's not going to happen. Hugh, you just need to move right on, find yourself somebody else. It won't be Garner. All right, now we're going to talk about T. Martin possibly replacing Liam Cohen, who left the Kentucky program over the weekend. And Kentucky had a bad week. First, they got totally whooped by the Tennessee Vols at Rupp Arena. And they lost their offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen, which might lead to them losing Brock VANDERGRIFF. We'll see. They need to keep Brock VANDERGRIFF. That was a great get. So they're going to have to find a good offensive coordinator. Tommy Rees might be a good fill-in for them. He just left Alabama, obviously, when Kalen DeBoer came in. He dumped him real quick. So Tommy Rees would be a decent pickup for Kentucky, and he's available. But also who's available would be T. Martin. And he's been an offensive coordinator for many years. He was one at USC. He also was an assistant at Kentucky years ago. And again, AZ Sports with Zach Reagan. He says, for the third straight offseason, the Kentucky Wildcats are in need of a new offensive coordinator. We know about Cohen. Now, Martin is currently the Baltimore Ravens quarterback coach, which is a great job. I don't know that he'd want to leave that job. I tell you, being a college coach these days is not really that great a job. Yeah, you're going to make some really good money, but he's making really good money in the NFL, and he doesn't have to recruit. He doesn't have to worry about the transfer portal. He doesn't have to fly all over the country and beg kids to come to Kentucky and do all that stuff. You know, he can just stay up there and do what he likes to do, which is teach quarterbacks. So I'd be very surprised if he left the NFL. And on top of that, he's working under Todd Monken up there at Baltimore, and I think Monken is a tremendous offensive coordinator. I think had he stayed at Georgia, they would have won their third natty. I really think that he makes that big a difference. Look what he did for Baltimore this year. They were terrific. So if I was him, I would stay there. I wouldn't go to Kentucky, and I would continue to have that NFL life, which I think is going to be way better than coaching in college, honestly. You're going to be home a lot more. You're going to have a better life. The Lexington Herald leader says if Stoops wants to continue to prioritize NFL experience, but is willing to step outside the Shanahan coaching tree, Martin would be a logical choice. The former Tennessee quarterback already has experience at Kentucky, served as an assistant coach for Joker Phillips for 2 seasons, and was once considering a rising star as a college coach before jumping the NFL. Martin has previous college experience at Southern Cal, where he was an offensive coordinator. It's far from certain he would be interested in leaving the opportunity to coach Lamar Jackson for a college coordinator position, though. Talks about where he was a wide receivers coach in 2010 and 11. Talks about how tough it'd be to leave the Ravens and give up coaching Lamar Jackson. Talks about how a lot of coaches are fleeing the college game for the NFL to the absurd workload that we just discussed, the transfer portal, and it's just, I mean, it's nuts. Says the only way it makes sense is if Martin sees the offensive coordinator job as a springboard to an NFL coordinator job. Even then, it seems like a better path for Martin to be staying the course in the NFL and hoping that a coordinator job in the pro ranks comes his way based on the work he's done with Jackson. I tell you, those coordinator jobs are in high demand in the NFL because a lot of the coaches in college are looking to exit. They don't like this crazy schedule, and it's only going to get worse. With the NCAA and all of these things going on, it's going to get even more dramatic.
It'll get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, he's probably going to stay in the NFL. If anybody's advising him or around him, they're going to tell him, look, you're in the land of milk and honey. You might want to stay. You're going to go over into a meat grinder, and you're going to be on the road 24/7 trying to get kids to come to Kentucky, which is not an easy thing to do. Sorry, Kentucky, not trying to rip on you, but honestly, that's a tough job. That is a very tough job. You don't have a lot of in-state talent. That's coming from a Tennessee Vols fan who understands sometimes lack of talent can get you. When you're competing against Georgia, Alabama, LSU, all those teams that have tons of talent, we have to go outside of the state of Tennessee. We have some due to Nashville, Memphis, places like that, but not near what they've got down in Athens or further down south. So I don't think either one of these two guys will move, but you never know. Coaching carousel, anything can happen. So we'll keep an eye on this. Also, again, I'm watching Greenville, Tennessee very closely, and we'll be looking to see what happens with the NCAA. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover my Vols, the SEC, all these big stories. And if you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Hit this little button. It'll cost you nothing. Helps me out. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.